Apple just released the second generation AirPods Pro. This is huge.
We're going to see how these AirPods compare to the rest of Apple's lineup to help you decide which pair you should buy.
And we're going to tell you why we think everyone's #1 complaint about the AirPods Pro will turn out to be totally wrong.
Let's meet them. The second generation AirPods Pro support 2 times better active noise cancellation, personalized spatial audio, and adaptive transparency with environmental noise reduction, which is super cool. More on that later.
They're powered by the new H2 chip, which is twice as powerful as the H1 chip that's in AirPods Max and the previous generation. The H2 chip allows the second generation AirPods Pro to do a lot of things headphones have never been able to do before.
The battery life is great. Up to 6 hours on a single charge and 30 hours with the wireless charging case that you can charge with MagSafe or a Qi charger by placing it on your Apple Watch charger or using the lightning port at the bottom.
And for the first time, the AirPods case is IPX4 water resistant, which will protect it from splashing water coming from any direction.
On the right-hand side of the case, there's a new spot for a lanyard, which you can purchase from Apple.
Or you can make your own like me. Before we talk about sound quality, we want to touch on the fit. The second generation AirPods Pro come with new extra small ear tips.
I was a little bit concerned about the silicone tips because the first generation AirPods Pro didn't sit very well in my ears. That's why I've been using the Beats Fit Pro. They have a little wing tip for extra ear security. I tried all 4 ear tip sizes, and let me tell you, I'm really glad Apple introduced the extra small size.
I just assumed that because I'm an adult male, I would fall into the medium or large category. So I tried them first with the mediums, but I'm really glad I tried the other sizes because the smalls for me changed everything, the comfortability and the sound quality.
If you're like me and you've had trouble with earbuds before, I don't think you'll have an issue with these.
Me neither. There's an ear tip fit test in the settings app, which is really cool. I tried it first with the mediums. I got good seal. But then I tried it with the smalls, felt better, also got good seal. So the moral of the story is try all the different sizes before you decide.
I thought I was going to rip them because you have to yank them so hard, but believe me, you'll be fine.
Some other headphones leave me wondering if the ear tip is actually on all the way. But these snap-on ear tips is another example of Apple's amazing engineering.
The ear tip is about more than just the fit. The second generation AirPods Pro sound a lot better than the AirPods 3, especially at bass frequencies. Let's talk about sound.
The original AirPods Pro had great sound quality. But when you compare them side by side, the second generation sound a whole lot better. Apple built a new custom transducer, which is a part of the speaker that vibrates, and a new amplifier to power them. And that means more clarity and frequencies that extend much farther into the low end and high end. David and I used to talk about the Apple sound on every pair of AirPods and Beats we tested for the last few years. It always sounded like music was optimized for vocal clarity. I am happy to say that the Apple sound is no longer a thing with these. They sound a lot better.
I think with these headphones, more than any other Apple headphones in the past and earbuds more generally, you can really hear the sounds on the edges of the soundstage. There was a really impressive clarity and wideness when I listened to Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. There's all these crazy sounds going all over the place, but nothing was muddled. Everything was distinct and clear.
We'll talk more about it later, but the H2 chip in the new AirPods Pro gave Apple the power it needed to extend the frequency response. The bass used to disappear at low volumes, but now it's consistent even when it's soft.
The vocals are super crisp. You said the Apple sound is no longer a thing, and I agree for the most part. I just did find myself wanting a little bit more bass, a little bit more punchiness.
I agree. The bass is there for me, but I felt like it was lacking a little bit in the sub-bass frequencies, like when I listened to Brass Monkey by Beastie Boys. It just didn't have the lowest of the low end.
Also important to sound is personalized spatial audio.
Spatial audio sounds complex, but it's simple. With 2 ears, we can hear how far away things are and pinpoint exactly what direction they're coming from, which is amazing and very hard to do with technology. That's what Apple is striving for with spatial audio.
It's a little awkward to set up, especially when you're doing it on your own.
Yeah, it's hard to be looking at your phone when you're pointing it at your ear, but Apple did a good job of making it so that you don't have to have your ear perfectly centered in the camera for it to work.
Personalized spatial audio is a neat feature, but I don't think it's one I'm going to use very often. It doesn't really improve the listening experience, and I think some of the richness in the audio tracks gets lost. For example, I was listening to Lost Cause by Billie Eilish, and some of the whispering on the sides, you couldn't hear it as well.
I agree when it comes to music that was mixed in stereo. For instance, Quincy Jones did a great job of mixing Thriller. I don't think that personalized spatial audio is going to make that sound better, so I like to leave it off for music.
However, this feature is amazing for movies. It's kind of hard to describe, but I'd say the audio experience is somewhere between a conventional movie theater and watching a film in IMAX.
For most people, Unless you have a high-end Dolby Atmos sound system at home, these are going to make your movies sound a lot better than a TV speaker or a soundbar. Let's talk about noise cancellation.
I think the active noise cancellation was solid, but left just a little bit to be desired. However, on some earbuds we've tested before, they play this little white noise when noise cancellation is on. It kind of ruins the audio experience for you. There was none of that on the second gen AirPods Pro.
I think the ANC on these sounds great, and it sounds a lot better than the first generation AirPods Pro, especially when it comes to lower frequencies like you might hear if you're flying on a plane. A quick note about the design of these, that's a huge improvement over the previous generation. Apple moved the vent from the side to the top on the new generation of the AirPods Pro, which allows for better noise canceling and pressure equalization. So the noise canceling doesn't just sound better, it's more comfortable. There's less pressure in your ears.
On the flip side, let's talk about what used to be called transparency mode.
Now it's called adaptive transparency. When we hear our own voices on a recording, a lot of the time it sounds weird to us, and that's because our bodies are resonance chambers. When we speak, we hear all this bass coming from in here that doesn't get put out into the world.
Adaptive transparency is simply amazing. It really sounds like there's nothing in your ears. I was totally blown away.
And the adaptive part of this is really a cool feature. Let's say you're walking down the road and a fire truck comes blaring by. You need to hear the siren, but you don't need it amplified into your ears. What adaptive transparency does is it takes the loudest sounds, those above 85 decibels, and reduces them without ducking the level of the lower sounds. I wasn't going to say this because I'm going to come off as an Apple fanboy, but this struck me as a better way to hear because it protects you against the really loud sounds, but you still hear the quiet ones.
Could be an upcoming Black Mirror episode. And when you use the second gen AirPods Pro and your Apple Watch at the same time, you can see the level of noise reduction in real time.
One point of feedback for Apple, I hope eventually that they build in a volume control for the transparency mode, because sometimes I like to hear the outside world a little louder or a little bit quieter.
A little bit quieter for me. Next, let's talk about battery life and the case.
The second gen AirPods Pro get 6 hours on a single charge. That is 1.5 hours longer than the previous generation and just about the same amount as the third generation AirPods.
When you bring in the case, the second gen AirPods Pro get about 30 hours of listening time. It's about the same as the AirPods 3 and 6 hours more than the first generation AirPod Pros.
At first glance, the new AirPods Pro case is pretty much the same as the old one, but it does have a few distinguishing features.
Apple added the U1 chip, which enables precision finding, allowing you to quickly find your case. Maybe it's tucked underneath the couch cushion.
There's also a speaker on the case that plays sounds when the battery is low, when charging has started, when they enter pairing mode, and when you put the wrong AirPod in the case.
I love these new tones. It doesn't seem like a really big change, but it was a big boost for me in terms of user experience, and it's one of those hyper attention to detail features that really makes Apple Apple. There's also a lanyard loop on the side of the case, making it really easy to attach your AirPods case to a gym bag or a purse.
I know you've been admiring my lanyard here. I had it custom made last weekend at the Big E in Massachusetts, and you can win one of these custom babies. I feel like I'm on QVC. 24 karat gold plated jeweler's bronze. So
it's better than pyrite.
Subscribe to our channel and hop on our Discord to find out how you can win this beauty.
You can also get an in-case lanyard from Apple.
Or you can make your own out of string.
Next, let's talk about touch controls.
Apple did a really good job of making the touch controls intuitive and simple. They improved the force sensor from the previous generation AirPods Pro by adding a capacitive touch layer on top of it. So now you can change the volume on your AirPods Pro without having to talk to Siri or touch your phone.
When you swipe up and down on the 7, it only changes a little bit of volume at a time. That way you're not blowing out your eardrums. I just think this whole swiping functionality is super cool.
I hope they change it so that you can adjust it a little bit more with each swipe. Maybe they build in some sort of a smart volume system.
It can be a little bit tedious going from a very low level to a very high level just by swiping up and down.
You can kind of get this thing going on though. That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Have you tried it with the two-handed swipe?
I didn't try the two-handed swipe yet, no.
Well, you're gonna have to try that. It's great. Let's talk quickly about the skin detect sensor. Most headphones have an optical sensor that tells you something's in front of them, but it's not good at identifying what that something is, so sometimes they get turned on if they're in your pocket.
The skin detect sensor uses 2 light sensors to detect reflections of light that only come from skin, and it works across all skin tones. We can't do a headphone review without talking about the microphones. Let's compare the 4 most recent AirPods models.
This is a test of the AirPods Max microphone in a quiet environment during a phone call.
This is a test of the AirPods Max microphone in a loud environment during a phone call.
This is a test of the AirPods 3rd generation microphone in a quiet environment during a phone call.
This is a test of the AirPods 3 microphone in a loud environment during a phone call.
This is a test of the AirPods Pro 1st generation microphone in a quiet environment during a phone call.
This is a test of the AirPods Pro 1st generation microphone in a loud environment during a phone call.
This is a test of the AirPods Pro 2nd generation microphone in a quiet environment during a phone call.
This is the test of the AirPods Pro 2nd generation microphone in a loud environment during a phone call.
The microphone is definitely better than previous AirPods models, particularly the 1st gen AirPods Pro, but it's nothing really revolutionary. You'll sound good on phone calls and Zoom calls, and that's what you need them to do. We're going to get to our final verdict in just a moment, but we need to talk about why the H2 chip that Apple invented for these is a total game changer with wireless audio technology. So why should they be so excited about this chip? When you listen to music with Bluetooth headphones, a digital signal gets sent from your phone in zeros and ones to the headphones themselves, and then Apple built a custom transducer, which is like the speaker, and an amplifier, which takes that digital signal and turns it into an analog audio signal, waves that we can hear with our ears. Yes, the 2nd gen AirPods Pro have great acoustics, but in the past, the processor has been the limiting factor. And that's Apple's secret weapon. Nobody else can build a chip like they can. Bluetooth audio has always been about trade-offs between reliability of signal, battery life, and sound quality. We don't have lossless audio yet, but there are plenty of indications that the power is there. It just needs to be unlocked by Apple. And that's what brings us to the reason why we think everyone's number one complaint about the AirPods Pro 2nd gen is wrong. I think they're going to roll out lossless audio with the next AirPods release. Every time you see 48,000 times per second in their marketing materials, that's a clue to us that lossless audio is just over the horizon. In terms of marketing strategy, you have a ton of people out there saying, I would buy the AirPods Pro 2nd gen if they came with lossless audio, but I guess I'll wait. Well, there's a marketing thing out there called consistency, where we want to keep promises we make, even the ones we make to ourselves. All those people are going to go out and buy the AirPods Pro 2nd gen as soon as Apple rolls out the lossless audio. Apple knows this. They're just waiting to roll it out. That's what I think. This is not anything that's confirmed. We have no inside knowledge. Total speculation.
It's a guess, but I saw the numbers and I said, lossless audio is on the way.
And when he's wrong, you can leave a comment down below and tell him how wrong he was. But should you buy them, I can tell you right now, these are going to be my new workout headphones. I've been using the Beats Fit Pro because of the ear security. The AirPods Pro 2nd generation are comparable on ear security. They sound a lot better and they cancel noise a lot better. In spite of all the amazing features that these come with, it all comes down to sound quality for me. And these are a huge improvement over the previous generation and over the AirPods, and I really think they would compete even with the AirPods Max, and that's because of the H2 chip and just how far Apple has come with that technology. I think the 2nd generation AirPods Pro are also the best bang for your buck in Apple's AirPods lineup. They're $70 more than the AirPods 3 with that MagSafe charging case, and for those $70, you get the U1 chip with precision finding, active noise cancellation.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of great stuff. They're also a lot cheaper than the AirPods Max, and I think whether I'm working out or on a Zoom call or even traveling, just the portability and the sound quality of the AirPods Pro 2nd generation, I'd rather have those at less than half the price than the AirPods Max.
The AirPods Pro 2nd gen, I think it's a great buy for $249.
They totally surpassed my expectations. Now, like the AirPods Pro 2nd generation, iOS 16 also just recently came out. Is your iPhone optimized for it? If not, watch this video next, appearing on the screen. Click it, check it out. You'll enjoy it.